You're watching Vancouver TV, where we show you what's happening in your city. We've got the latest movie reviews and access to your favorite celebs. From fashion to red carpets, live shows, and more, we cover it all, keeping you informed about your city and in the know about upcoming events.
He was once the world's most famous male model. Even his looks were household names. Le Tigre, Magnum, and of course, Blue Steel. But that was a long, long, long time ago.
Old LeMay? We were a joke out there.
I guess fashion's changed.
Meet the biggest supermodel in the whole world. Is all.
Are you like a male model or a female model?
All is all.
I think he's asking, do you have a hot dog or a bun?
Derek Zulander, I'm with Interpol. I need your help.
She's hot. I trust her.
Someone's trying to kill the world's most beautiful people.
Oh, fudge! Peace out, world.
All of them died with your signature look. This is Blue Steel, right? We need you to infiltrate the world of high fashion.
We're back!
Yeah!
Are you sure Zoolander is the right man to help us?
Hey, handsome!
What the hell is your problem?
God help us all. You were amazing.
I'm sorry, I can't understand a word that you're saying.
Derek, toss me the knife. You got it!
There's only one criminal mastermind who could be behind all this.
Prison changed me! I am bad to the core now! Talk! Where's my goddamn latte? Ah!
But how am I supposed to stop Mugatu?
I'm the Mama Pajamba! I'm the Mama Pajamba!
You're Derek Zoolander. He stopped a Chinese throwing star with a look. Flash me that beautiful Magnum.
Wait, Magnum, now! Oh! You have this! Oh! Yeah! Tequila! Oh!
Maybe we could try a washcloth?
Ah!
Hey VTV viewers, Maria here, and we're here at Nicole Bridger Design in Gastown with the founder, Nicole Bridger. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for coming in.
No, thanks for being on the show. So Nicole, tell us a little bit about your brand.
The mantra of my company is I am love, which for me is about coming from that pure place of love in all that you do. And how that shows up in the business is kind of three parts. It's about doing what is right for the earth, its people, and spirit. So for the earth, we use sustainable fabrics, as sustainable as I can find right now, depending on technology and the size of my orders, etc. For people, it's about ethical manufacturing. So 90% of our manufacturing happens here in Vancouver, and the other 10 we use fair trade factories in Nepal and Peru, yeah. And then for spirit, we put a label that says I am love into each piece of clothing. And it reminds the wearer to come from that place. Even as she's getting dressed in the morning and noticing how she's talking to herself, how she's talking to others, strangers, loved ones, and encouraging her to show up in that sort of positive way as she moves through her own life.
Wow, that is really wonderful. I need to change out whatever I'm wearing right now and just come in and buy a whole outfit from here.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, the mantra is beautiful, but then the clothes also have to be functional. So everything that we have is what I would call lifestyle clothing. Our clients are busy. Sometimes they're moms. They're usually professionals, and they have a really busy life.
And they want to look good.
And they want to look good, and they need to feel comfortable, and they need stuff to just throw in the wash. So whether they're dropping their kids off at school or going into the boardroom or having cocktails, I find our clothes are really good for all those things, and travel and meetings. And you feel elegant and sexy while wearing it, while it really aligns to your values. So a lot of our clients, they love the clothes, works for their lifestyle, and then they find out about the values and they go, wow, this really, this fits.
That's awesome. And, a big part of your clothing is paying attention to detail and how the details make a difference to the earth. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
There's, a lot of details. I think the most important thing is that we try to be mindful wherever we have contact. So whether that's in the details, you're probably thinking of like the buttons that we use. And so the buttons we use are tagwood nut or shell. We're making an attempt. There's no such thing, but it's really hard to be perfect. And the goal for me is to do the best that we can with what we have available to us. So and those buttons may not be perfect, but if we continue the journey and keep finding out more information and just keep the conversation going, then we get closer and closer to perfect. I think it is possible eventually to have a closed loop system with zero waste. It's gonna take time, but if you just keep pushing a little bit. And all of our labels and any paper we use is post-consumer. So just trying to bring that mindfulness wherever we're doing anything.
Yeah, that is awesome. It's way better than plastic. So yeah. And what made you start your own brand?
That's a good question. I knew when I was 16 that I wanted to have my own company. I grew up here in Vancouver, and I was quite certain I was going to be a veterinarian or something. Both my parents are in medicine. And I had learned how to sew when I was 13, and I loved it, and was sewing my own clothes and things like that, but I never considered it to be a possible career. And then when I was 16, my first love, his father is John Fluvog, who's a well-known shoe designer, and we were together for 4 years, and in that, it was that showed me that it's possible to do something you like creatively, and try to make a career out of it, which I hadn't considered before. So I was like, oh, that's actually what I want to do. Okay, how do I do that?
And you went to school for that?
So I found out that you can actually go to school for fashion design, which I had no idea. And I went to Ryerson University. They have a degree program there, which my parents were happy, just in case, this wasn't a long-term thing, that I would have a degree. In third year, I went on exchange to London, England, and I interned for Vivienne Westwood over there.
Whoa, that's huge.
She's amazing. She really answered a lot of questions that I was sort of grappling with. She showed me, I'm really not a fashionista. I really enjoy making clothes, but I don't get lost in the hoopla, I guess, the trends, and just like make it more important than it really is. And she showed me that you could really be whoever you are, and she makes no excuses for who she is, that's for sure. Rides around on her bicycle, and she's awesome. And also, I was trying to figure out, I really had from a young age a desire to do some kind of good, make some kind of positive impact while I'm here. And I feel very fortunate for the life that I've had, and want to give back. And I couldn't see how I could marry the two. And I saw that she was using the platform of clothing as a kind of vehicle for the voice, the changes that she wanted to make. And not just the punk movement, but continues all the time, even now. And then finally, I saw her going through her second bankruptcy. And I thought, okay, you know, it's incredible to be this creative genius, but I need to learn business. I'm not going to do any good in the world if I don't have a sense of business. So I went back to university and did a minor in entrepreneurship. And
That was a smart move.
right? Although let me tell you, you really just learn by doing. Like, you can do all this schooling, and then once you're actually doing it and it's real stuff and real money, I mean, you learn quick.
But that's why you hire an accountant.
Right. And you work closely with them. So then I knew I wanted to move back to Vancouver when I finished school, and I had worked some summers for Chip Wilson, who founded Lululemon. And some friends of mine had an idea around starting a clothing line that they wanted me to be a part of. And so I asked him for some advice. So we sat on his couch and talked about it. And he said, don't start a company for them. Start one for me. Lululemon's doing well. I want to start something new. So we co-created Okoko, which was a casual eco-wear line. And that was, in 04, 05, somewhere in there. Quite ahead of its time. Yeah, so the first store was in Kits, and I had my office in the store, and the questions back then from clients were, why eco and why organic and why should we care? And now people just say awesome.
Now it's picking up.
Yeah, and it's a common language and a common awareness. You even see now the Prime Minister has, really taken steps to acknowledging climate change and being a part of that. So it's part of common conversation, which is great. So then after a couple of years of doing that, I felt like I really learned what I needed to learn before starting my own. And then our first collection was in 2008. And I started in my parents' basement.
That's how it all starts.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a couple machines and a couple tables, and
You did everything yourself?
everything. I was one woman for many years, and worked in the basement, and yeah, it was intense. And then I got married and had a baby, and that is intense, trying to balance being a new mom and a business owner when you are a one-person show as well. And then very quickly got divorced. So my son was only 8 months old when I left my ex-husband. So then I was a single mom and balancing all those things, which was really intense. And still, to this day, is a lot. Being the sole caretaker of my son. And thank goodness my parents and my sister live close by, and it takes a village, as they say. And then in 2011 we opened a store, so that was kind of a year after the divorce, and I was able to heal and mend and put energy back into the business. Yeah.
That is awesome.
And then after 3 years of being in Kits, we moved to Gastown, which has been fantastic. Like, instantly felt like home, and instantly a part of the neighborhood, and it's been a great move.
Yeah, the fashion environment here is great. Can you tell us about the shop?
Yeah. So we did pretty minimal changes to the change rooms and things, but we brought in, when you first come in, it was kind of like being in a fishbowl. It was all glass, and trying on clothes is such an intimate experience. You don't want strangers across the way looking at me. You don't even want someone close to you. So I still wanted the light to come in, so I designed this kind of wood feature, and the contractors were fantastic. They really made it come to life, and it's using all scraps of cedar 2x2, which I don't know if you noticed, but it also makes it smell nice in here. And then you can see through, but you feel cozy, and it brings a warmth into an otherwise very white and cement sort of space. And we bring the plants in, and I like this corner to be the conversation corner. I think all change begins with conversation. So I really like to facilitate conversation. I saw it even in my parents' basement. I would hold sales, and I would see, a good friend of mine over here chatting with another good friend of mine over here about something really meaningful. And I thought, gosh, there's something here. People are connecting. It's not just about the clothes. Yes, they're here to buy clothes, but there's a certain magic that's happening where it's a place for people to come and connect and talk. And so every store that we open, for me, there has to be a place for conversation.
The conversation corner with the couches.
And preferably drinks.
And drinks, that's always good.
I'd love to elevate it to have maybe some espresso bar or some fresh juice bar. We'll get there.
Eventually. So who are your style influences growing up?
Oh my goodness. I'm not sure if I had any. I even to this day, I really don't keep tabs on designers. Like I just don't. And thank goodness Vivienne Westwood didn't either, so she kind of made me feel okay that I didn't. Like,
do your own thing.
You gotta do what works for you, and for me, I feel more inspired by traveling. You do what works for you. I think as a kid, I think myself, because I would put these outfits together and these dresses, and I went through a hat phase where couldn't leave the house without a hat on, and yeah, my mom tells me all about that. And Barbie, actually, because I started making clothes for Barbie when I was a little kid, and sort of figuring out how, without a needle, to tape and string and stuff, and figure out how to make clothes for her. And I had quite a lot of Barbies, so that was, I think, where it sort of started.
Very cool. And I bet there's an obvious answer to this, but what made you start designing maternity clothing?
Yes, definitely. It was when I was pregnant. So funny how that happens. And it wasn't so much that I designed maternity, but that I saw that certain styles of ours worked for maternity, and so we promote them as maternity friendly, because it's a lot to go and buy a whole new wardrobe for a short period of your life, especially when there's other things that you need to be buying too, cribs
or the baby.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so much stuff. So I noticed I could wear certain dresses and things all the way to term. And so we just started promoting them as maternity friendly. And the clients love it because then they can just keep wearing it afterwards. And a lot of our clients are getting pregnant and having babies. And, if we can make that time easier. And it's also a time where often women aren't feeling great about their bodies changing, things are going on, and
it's a lot.
It's so much. And it's really nice if you can still feel like yourself and still feel beautiful and be taking care of yourself. So it's nice to help our clients.
Oh, that's great. And feeling good in what you're wearing is so important. Tell us about the materials and fabrics you use.
So there's quite a lot of different fabrics, and each one we look at quite individually. So there's man-made fabrics like the tencel and the modal, which come from selectively harvested trees. So not dissimilar to a rayon, but the process is more eco. And it has a beautiful drape to it. It's really soft. And then there's natural fibers like silk and the organic cotton, hemp. There's a wool cashmere. The cashmere comes from Nepal. That's the fair trade cashmere. And so those are not processed in a man-made way. Though actually there's a new fabric coming out from hemp where they're working on it right now to be man-made, processed like the tencel. So it has a much softer hand than the hemp that you normally think of. So all of those, they're using renewable resources. So synthetics come from petroleum-based, and that's obviously not renewable. And then I also consider the dyes and the chemicals used in the processing. So, I'm asking those questions, and you sometimes get answers and sometimes you don't, and sometimes you can rely on certain certifications. Like Blue Sign means that they are considering water waste management. We use azo-free dyes or low-impact dyes, not necessarily natural dyes. I'm more interested in kind of this waterless dyeing. The natural dyes and organic cotton also use a lot of water. And I think now with technology that we should be looking at ways of using a lot less water.
You know, you mentioned the really big problem with textiles in the landfill. And it's not just about, where it goes after it's worn, but, the whole fast fashion mentality and how people are not educated about where their clothing comes from and how it's made. How do you deal with that? How do you educate consumers about, how important it is to know how your clothing is made, but also investing in their clothing?
Again, it's just a conversation. I think for the most part, people are inherently good, and when they find out that somebody somewhere was suffering, if not abused, to have a cheap garment, they don't feel good about it. And just educating people that, buy less, make sure it's good quality, make sure that it's made in a way that you can feel good about. And granted, that is not that easy. I mean, it's hard for me to find out some of the stuff, and I'm actually in the industry.
You're in the industry.
And that's going to change too. Just like the organic food industry, the labeling and things have become much more stringent, and that will happen with clothing as well. And also, think about darning or mending clothes. When you buy something special, you tend to care for it a little bit more, not just discard it. And if you're done with it, you could consign it, you could give it to a friend, you could do clothing swaps. Clothing swaps are quite big now. So making sure that you are extending the life of the garment, that it keeps going even if you are finished with it. And it's just a matter of it becoming part of the common conversation and people getting educated and sharing tips and tools with one another. And I don't like the idea of it becoming a place of judgment, like that. Then you lose the spirit element. It's just about doing the best that you can, and that your best may change over time too, and things may become more easy over time. But if you become die hard on a certain idea around perfection, then you lose the balance, you lose the spirit, and it's counterproductive, really. Yeah.
Okay, so now moving on to Nicole Bridger Design. Tell us about your latest fashion trends.
So we are just wrapping up winter and coming into spring. Which one would you like to talk about, winter or spring?
Let's talk about spring. It's coming up.
Coming up, okay. So spring has been particularly challenging. So I owned my garment factory for 3 years, and we just closed it on Halloween, which has been quite heartbreaking. We couldn't afford it. It's just basically too much of a drain financially and time-wise, like just on all our resources to own it. So we've been moving through that, and now I'm working with some new local factories for the first time, which they're acquaintances of mine, they're friends of mine, so not too far from home. But so we're juggling all of these things at the same time. There's some new fabrics coming in, which I'm really excited about. Some more hemps, which for me is definitely going to be the fiber of the future. And being in Gastown, more connected to kind of our clients, we're able to have a little bit more fun with some stuff too, and we get a lot of tourists down here, and sort of push the boundaries a little bit. So we've got a lot of stuff that you want to wear every day, whether that's like little tunics or blouses, a lot of dresses. I find when in the heat.
I love dresses.
Yeah, and it's a one-stop shop, if you will. Like, you don't have to think about the whole outfit. It's just one piece, and you always look elegant in a dress. And it's great for summer, for in the heat. So we've got quite a few little dresses coming in, and always the kind of core pieces that everybody needs in their closets, whether that's a nice pencil skirt that you can wear to work, or a pair of trousers, blazers, still lots of silk blouses and dresses, and then also the tees, like just nice little, whether it's linen or we have kind of a hemp linen blend that's coming in that it's kind of slubby. It's really nice with a little bit of stretch. The stretch is spandex, and that's not biodegradable, but it does sort of hold longer life out of the t-shirt. There's no, it's no black.
It's about balancing.
Yeah, well, and you sort of have to figure all those things. It's a lot of shades of gray, and figure out what's right for you. And yeah, there's no rule book, that's for sure.
No, congratulations, Nicole. I totally love what you're doing and the whole message behind Nicole Bridger Design and I Am Love. So thanks you once again for interviewing with us.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Okay, so now we're going to be looking at some clothing here at Nicole Bridger Design.
So a couple pieces. This is an organic cotton hemp blend tunic that's been super popular, and you can wear that over skinny jeans, roll up the cuffs. Great to and from piece. This is a blazer in the tencel and really nice for work. Throw that over a dress or even jeans on the weekend. This little blazer also is super popular, and this is a tweed that's a hemp and organic cotton blend, and it's sort of like a Chanel meets motorcycle kind of vibe on that one. This little t-shirt here, so this has the silk in the front and then a recycled poly hemp cotton blend on the back, and this is great for kind of a fancy take on a t-shirt. It's nice to layer with the blazers. And this blouse is the one I'm wearing. That's a silk georgette, sorry. So it's a little bit sheer, which I really like, that sort of romantic feel to that one. And this is a classic style for us, the compassion dress. So it has this kind of Grecian wrapping, draping feature to it. And this is a cotton cashmere. This is one of the pieces that we have made fair trade in Nepal. Really cute, sort of slouchy sweater that you could throw off the shoulder or not, depending on how you want to wear it.